Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are all having a fantastic day so far. The stock market was insane today. It flew up and actually gapped up early in the morning and then started really selling off in the middle of the day. We did have a few key Fed speakers today, like Powell. He spoke, as well as Bullard, and Powell's actually set to speak again tomorrow. So be ready for that at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow, Powell is going to speak. And looking at the heat map today, stocks were very mixed across the board. I was happy to see Tesla actually close up pretty green. I thought that was pretty nice. But honestly, another pretty red day across the market. Like I said, the SPY did well early on and then sold off towards the end of the day. Now, guys, tonight might be a little bit different style of a video. Mike is not here. He is actually dealing with Hurricane Ian right now. It's striking Cuba currently, but over the next couple days, it's going to be hitting Florida. You can see there's a pretty good map here showing exactly where it's going to go. Guys, this is actually pretty dangerous, and this can actually affect the stock market. I have seen hurricanes affect the stock market in the past. I've seen it really affect oil stocks, especially oil stocks that deal with drilling in the Gulf Coast by Florida. One of them that I used to always hear was RIG. I remember that one used to go crazy, as well as a few other drillers ahead of this. But let's go ahead and see what happens with the market. It's going to be insane, guys. And of course, I'm praying for everybody that's in Florida. Of course, Mike is going to take his precautionary measures and take shelter and try to be as safe as he can. So just pray for Mike, guys. It's going to be a pretty scary thing. This hurricane looks pretty nasty. It's sending some pretty strong winds. I think they're saying 120 miles per hour, at least right now. So yeah, it's going to be pretty bad, guys. It's going to be going right through the middle of Florida. So yeah, praying for everybody down there. I know it's going to be pretty nasty. A lot of flooding's expected and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really going to be praying for everybody as far as that goes. But like, I'm going back to the market now. We did have some pretty bad stuff on the heat map today. There was some positives like Tesla, for example, and then we had Nvidia. But to the downside, we did actually have some pretty bad stocks drop. Almost a lot of safer stocks, like McDonald's was down quite a bit. Disney was down. Meta, of course. Lockheed Martin fell. Visa, JP Morgan, banks were down today. But we did have some positivity. Like I said at the beginning, it was very mixed. DraftKings had a pretty good day. Even though it sold off, it ended up around like right at 5% actually, which is cool. CCJ ended up doing very well today in the energy sector, which was awesome. I know they've been doing amazing with a lot of uranium stocks. So it was really nice to see those stocks moving up. But getting into the big news from today, guys, Bullard spoke as well as Powell. So Bullard spoke and he did say that recession is a risk, but he said more of on a global basis than in the United States. Now, obviously, he's still saying that inflation in the US is going to be pretty bad. But nonetheless, though, recession is obviously possibly coming in here into the United States. A lot of people are saying it's already happened since we've had 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. But then again, you know, the jobs market has been holding up a little bit better and stuff like that. So there is some argument on both sides. But nonetheless, though, Bullard did speak today. He said recession is a risk. And that's obviously pretty scary to hear, especially from a big Fed speaker like him. He is the St. Louis Fed president, so keep that in mind. But then Powell actually spoke as well, and he's talking about the creating an oversight of stablecoin issuers and having regulation of crypto wallets. So I thought this was interesting. He spoke at a Bank of France conference about the digitization of finance. Sorry, it's a little bit hard to pronounce there, but nonetheless, though, he said that the focus of stablecoin regulators should be on the impact of these crypto tokens pegged to another asset like the dollar if they are used more widely in public. So that's very interesting. He's talking about those being pegged to the dollar. So that could actually, you know, maybe that's one way to maybe that the feds will help regulate some of these. And I will say, guys, the cryptos have been very risky over the past few years. They've been going up and down nonstop. If we go look at BTC, USD, obviously today it fell a lot. I don't think that people like the news of regulation, but you know, Bitcoin's been up a lot, it's been down a lot, it's had huge jumps in the past along with huge drops. Let's actually go back and I'll show you guys how bad this actually looked at the time. So, you know, if you were looking at Bitcoin right here, it would kind of look pretty similar to today, how Bitcoin is starting to get extremely, extremely low. Kind of a very similar chart, Now that looks the exact same now that we go back into the future. So just eye up Bitcoin, guys. It's getting very low. It's right on a key support, right around like $17,000, $16,000 is big support right there. Of course, we are breaking below 20,000, which is a little bit negative, but just eye it up. With these talks of regulation, it could have some impact on it. And you can see today, it just moved pretty much straight down in the middle of the day. So I figured that would be very key to talk about. But getting back into stocks today, we did talk about a few stocks that rose, like DraftKings, which I do like a lot for tomorrow. I think they had a lot of movement up. But the main stock I want to talk about is CCJ and UU. These stocks started moving back to the upside, and they did have a lot of momentum earlier in the month. So if these uranium stocks keep moving up, I will say, guys, watch these. I think they could have a pretty big impact on the energy sector over the next few days and maybe even few weeks. But, really watch these. If they, like, for example, if UU breaks above this key resistance I'm going to draw out right here, right around $6 a share, I think that could be a pretty good scalp play for tomorrow, up above $6. Same thing with CCJ. It had a really nice double top here right at resistance at 26.75. So if we could break above that tomorrow, I think that could be a pretty good move up. But for now, it's kind of double topping here and starting to move back. So we have to be careful of that rejection back to the downside. I would honestly only play it if you see a key break up here. So honestly, just play it for that key break up. If it gets rejected, honestly, I would probably just look at other parts of the market to trade to the downside. But really, watch for that big break there. I think that could be a pretty good momentum play for tomorrow. But, all right, guys, I want to get straight into now the economic calendar for tomorrow, because we did talk about Powell speaking today, and he is actually going to be speaking tomorrow at 10:15 a.m., 5 minutes after Bullard, who speaks at 10:10 a.m. So once again, they're both going to be speaking to they're both going to be speaking again, so it will be a pretty big event. Then Bowman and Evans are going to be speaking towards the end of the day, so keep that in mind. But Powell's going to be speaking tomorrow. It's obviously not going to be the biggest speech in the world, guys, but nonetheless, though, he is going to be speaking. It's going to be kind of like today. Really nothing crazy. He might talk more about stable coins and stuff like that. He'll probably maybe get some questions too. So honestly, I can't wait to see the event. I don't think it will be anything market breaking, though. It's nothing like the FOMC or anything like that. So I don't think that we need to necessarily, look at it too closely. And then Thursday, we have the GDP price index and the GDP growth rate QOQ, quarter over quarter final for Q2. Now, keep in mind, guys, this won't be too influential either. It is important, but keep in mind, there's a lot of different GDP numbers that come out, and this is not really going to be the huge one, in my opinion. So it could be pretty big, though, on Thursday. Most of the time, they have them highlighted in red if it will be a huge economic event. So just keep that in mind, but it could end up, doing something. But as far as stocks today, guys, I know we did talk about some of these uranium stocks, but one of my favorite stocks I talked about on the heat map today was Tesla. It ended up 2.5%. Honestly, I feel like it's moving pretty well so far today, and I think it'll be a pretty good momentum play for tomorrow. So I think this one could go either way. So I'm going to give you guys a move to the upside and the downside here. So to the downside, if we break below 278, I think Tesla could be a really good play down. If we see a break to the upside, up above 288.70 on Tesla, then I think we could have a good move to the upside. So if we break above 288.70, I think we could have a good move up. If we break below 277.50, then I think we could have a good play to the downside. Now for the second momentum play, we're going to eye up DraftKings here. If DraftKings can actually pop up above 1570, I'll look at a nice play up tomorrow. They have some pretty good momentum going on. They look like they're holding support pretty well here. Now, if they do fall down below $15 even, I will look at a play for them to the downside, possibly with puts. Now, if it only falls down by a couple cents, don't get too scared. You might even want to use 14.90 as a good support for tomorrow, but nonetheless, somewhere right around 15 will be a big level to watch. If you see solid momentum down below there and down below like 14.90, then I think it could be a pretty good play to the downside. And zooming in there a little bit, it really looks pretty good to the upside. and it did have a pretty big close there. And then the last momentum play to the upside today is actually going to be a bit of a surprise to a lot of people, because I would almost usually never post something like this, but it did actually pretty well today compared to most stocks, and that is AMC. And they're right on resistance. So if AMC can break above $7.60 tomorrow, I think we could see a pretty good play up. So I'm really just going to be watching this one to the upside. I know the first two that I gave were both ways, but nonetheless, I'm going to be watching AMC for a possible day trade to the upside tomorrow. So keep that in mind. And then some last minute stocks for tomorrow, guys. I saw today that a lot of energy stocks did quite well. I know we talked about CCJ and UUUU, but I did want to say that /CL or crude oil was actually moving up, which I thought was very nice today and very interesting. So crude oil itself right now had a pretty good day. It's back up to around $79. It did have a bit of a double top right there. It's been falling off quite a bit over the past couple weeks. We might see a bit of an uptrend start to creep back in here, especially with the hurricane going on. Like I said, sometimes that can affect gas prices and different stuff like that. You know, keep in mind that boats are going to have issues going through the Gulf of Mexico right now, and there's a lot of stuff that can be impacted. I know that oil stocks are one of the big things there, so watch for that, especially stocks that have drillers out in the Gulf, kind of like RIG, which I was mentioning. So be really careful with those types of stocks, but nonetheless, guys, let's get straight into the member of the day. And today's member of the day is going to be Trojan69. Thank you for being an active member of the Discord today. I thought it was pretty awesome. You came in, you were talking a lot about SPY and VXX today, so I appreciate that. Awesome to see you getting in some plays like that. Hopefully SPY does well for you tomorrow. But yeah, thank you so much. And, you know, I hope you enjoy being member of the day. So thank you so much, Trojan69. I appreciate it. But guys, thank you so much for sticking with me today. Seriously, I know it's a bit of a different video. If you liked it, let me know in the comments down below. Nonetheless, I'm praying for Mike, praying for everybody in Florida. This hurricane is starting to get pretty scary. Looking at some of the videos and stuff like that, honestly, like, that is a pretty scary sight to see. I know they're talking about all types of bad destruction going on here. Look at this. It's actually going to move all the way up into the country. So pretty insane, guys. Nonetheless, though, praying for everybody there. Of course, give Mike some support down in the comments below. That'll really help us out and also help us on the videos. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I know the market was insane with SPY today. It was all over the place once again, just like it has been over the past few weeks. We just keep seeing fake out after fake out. But yeah, have a great rest of your day, guys. And I'm praying for everybody down in Florida.